Imagine being 19 years old and walking into a courtroom like you own it, like the judge works for you, like consequences are something that happens to other people. That's exactly what happened when Sophia Chen, daughter of Providence Mayor David Chen, stepped into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom on a Wednesday morning that would change her life forever. She entered with the practiced smile of someone who spent years at campaign events, shaking hands and posing for photos. Her designer outfit probably cost more than most people in that courtroom made in a month. Her Prada bag sat perfectly on her shoulder. Her hair and makeup were camera-ready, because in Sophia's world, every moment was a potential photo opportunity. She even had an assistant trailing behind her carrying a Starbucks order, as if this criminal proceeding was just another campaign stop on her busy schedule. What Sophia didn't understand, what her 19 years of privilege had never taught her, was that Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom doesn't care about your last name, your father's title, or how many political connections you think you have. And what you're about to witness is the moment when unlimited political privilege crashed headfirst into unshakable justice, teaching this entitled young woman a lesson that all her father's power couldn't protect her from. She came in expecting this to be handled quietly, efficiently, the way everything in her life had always been handled. She left facing consequences that would strip away every advantage she'd ever known and force her to become someone she'd never imagined she could be. So why was the mayor's daughter in court that morning? Let me tell you exactly what happened. Sophia Chen was charged with driving under the influence with a blood alcohol level nearly twice the legal limit, leaving the scene of an accident that sent a 67-year-old man to the hospital, providing false information to police officers, resisting arrest, and attempting to use her father's political position to intimidate law enforcement. But here's what makes this case truly shocking. After the accident, while the man she'd hit was being loaded into an ambulance with broken ribs and a concussion, Sophia posted on Instagram calling it a minor fender bender and suggesting that people were trying to take advantage of her family's position. She actually posted photos of herself at a party 3 days later with a caption that said money and connections always win. That level of entitlement, that complete disconnect from reality, that absolute certainty that her father's title made her untouchable, that's what brought her to Judge Caprio's courtroom. And what Judge Caprio did next would become the most talked about sentencing in Providence history. If you've watched this far, don't miss the end of this video. Like the video, lean back, and dive into the story because what you are about to witness is privilege meeting its match in the most devastating way possible. Subscribe to our channel if you believe no political connection should ever place anyone above the law. It's Wednesday morning, 9:30 a.m. at the Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff's voice cuts through the murmur of the crowded courtroom. The state of Rhode Island versus Sophia Marie Chen. Every head turns as the door opens. Sophia enters, and immediately you can see she's in campaign mode. That bright, practiced smile lights up her face like she's greeting donors at a fundraiser. She waves casually at the gallery as if acknowledging supporters. She walks to the defendant's table with the confidence of someone who's never truly faced consequences, arranging herself in her seat like she's about to be photographed. She's still holding her Starbucks cup, and before the judge even speaks, she takes a long sip, completely unbothered by the gravity of the situation. The gallery murmurs at the audacity. Several people shake their heads in disbelief. Her attorney, a nervous-looking man in an expensive suit, keeps glancing at her, clearly wishing she would show some awareness of where she is and what's at stake. Judge Frank Caprio looks up from his bench with that characteristic patience and respect he shows every defendant, regardless of who they are or what they've done. "Good morning, Miss Chen." Sophia's smile brightens even more, her political training kicking in automatically. "Good morning, Your Honor. It's so nice to finally meet you. My father speaks very highly of you. He says you're doing wonderful work here in Providence." The courtroom goes quiet. Even people unfamiliar with court proceedings can sense that something is off about this response. Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change, but there's a subtle shift in the air, a sense that he's just sized up exactly who he's dealing with. "Miss Chen, this is a criminal proceeding, not a campaign event. We're here to address serious charges against you." Sophia laughs, a light, charming sound that would work perfectly at a political dinner but lands completely wrong in this courtroom. Of course, Your Honor. I apologize. I just wanted you to know how much our family appreciates your service to Providence and everything you do for this community. It's clear she's trying to establish a connection, to remind the judge that her family is important, that they're on the same team. Judge Caprio picks up the file in front of him, and when he speaks again, his voice carries a weight that makes even Sophia's smile falter slightly. Miss Chen, you're charged with driving under the influence of alcohol, leaving the scene of an accident causing bodily injury, providing false information to law enforcement officers, and resisting arrest. These are serious criminal charges. How do you respond? Sophia's smile doesn't fade entirely, but it becomes more calculated, more careful. Your Honor, I think there's been a significant misunderstanding about what happened that night. My father and I have already spoken with the city attorney's office about this matter. I believe they're working on a resolution that would be beneficial for everyone involved and wouldn't require taking up so much of the court's valuable time. Judge Caprio sets down his pen with deliberate care. Miss Chen, the city attorney doesn't determine outcomes in my courtroom. I do. The charges against you are matters of criminal law, not political negotiation. Sophia's composure slips just slightly, a flash of irritation crossing her face before she recovers. Of course, Your Honor. I simply meant that given the circumstances, and given my family's long-standing commitment to this city, perhaps we could find a way to resolve this efficiently. The circumstances being that you drove while intoxicated and crashed into another vehicle, causing injuries to the driver. Judge Caprio's voice remains level, but there's steel beneath it now. Sophia waves her hand in a dismissive gesture that makes several people in the gallery audibly gasp. Your Honor, I had 2 glasses of wine at a fundraiser for youth literacy programs. Hardly the crime of the century. And the other vehicle sustained minimal damage. My father's insurance company has already offered to cover all repairs and any medical expenses. We're trying to make this right. Judge Caprio opens the file more fully, pulling out several documents. Miss Chen, on the evening of March 21st at approximately 11:45 p.m., you were driving your Audi Q5 northbound on Hope Street. According to traffic camera footage and multiple witnesses, you ran a red light at the intersection of Angel Street and struck a Honda Civic that had the right-of-way. Is this accurate? Sophia straightens in her chair, her political training helping her maintain composure. The light was yellow when I entered the intersection, Your Honor. It's really a timing issue, not a violation. The judge slides a photograph across the bench toward the clerk, who displays it on the courtroom monitor. Traffic camera footage shows the light was red for 3 full seconds before you entered the intersection. You were traveling at 52 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. Sophia barely glances at the image. Your Honor, those cameras are notoriously inaccurate. My father has actually been working on getting them recalibrated. The timing mechanisms are outdated and the city has known about these issues for years. Are you suggesting the footage has been manipulated, Miss Chen? I'm suggesting that technology isn't infallible, especially older municipal systems that haven't been properly maintained due to budget constraints. It's actually one of the issues my father's administration has been trying to address. Judge Caprio's expression hardens almost imperceptibly. Miss Chen, the vehicle you struck belongs to Marcus Reeves, a 67-year-old retired teacher. He was returning home from visiting his wife at Rhode Island Hospital where she's receiving treatment for stage 4 cancer. The impact caused 3 cracked ribs, a concussion, and a fractured wrist. Would you like to tell the court about your interaction with Mr. Reeves after the collision? Sophia's carefully maintained composure shows its first real crack. I got out of my car to check on him, Your Honor. He seemed fine at the time. A bit shaken, obviously, but he was walking and talking normally. He didn't indicate that he was seriously injured. The ambulance report indicates significant injuries requiring immediate hospitalization. He was in the hospital for 3 weeks. Sophia's voice takes on a defensive edge. I didn't know that at the time, Your Honor. He didn't tell me he was badly hurt. If I'd known the extent of his injuries, of course I would have stayed at the scene. But you didn't stay, Miss Chen. You left before police arrived. As I mentioned before, I felt unsafe. The other driver was becoming aggressive and confrontational. I needed to leave the situation and call my father for guidance on how to handle it properly. Judge Caprio pulls out another document. The police report states that Mr. Reeves remained in his vehicle until officers arrived. Multiple witnesses confirmed he never approached you or behaved aggressively. In fact, witnesses stated that you were shouting at him before you drove away. Sophia's face flushes slightly. That's his version of events, Your Honor. People see what they want to see, especially when there's a chance for a lawsuit against someone with resources. I've learned that being the mayor's daughter means everyone wants to take advantage, everyone wants money. I had to protect myself and my family from potential exploitation. The gallery erupts in whispered comments and disapproving murmurs. Judge Caprio raises his hand for silence. Miss Chen, when officers located you at your father's residence approximately 40 minutes after the accident, you told them you weren't driving. You claimed your car had been stolen earlier that evening. Is this correct? Sophia hesitates, realizing she's on dangerous ground. I was in shock, Your Honor. I'd just been in a traumatic accident. I wasn't thinking clearly. I made a mistake in how I initially reported the situation. Judge Caprio's voice drops lower, more serious. You didn't just verbally report your car stolen, Miss Chen. You filed an official stolen vehicle report online at 12:17 a.m., half an hour after the accident. That's not shock. That's premeditation. That's attempting to create a false alibi. Sophia's attorney finally speaks up. Your Honor, my client was emotionally distressed and made poor decisions in the immediate aftermath. She's willing to take responsibility for her errors in judgment. Judge Caprio doesn't look at the attorney. Mr. Chong, I'm addressing your client. Miss Chen, this wasn't an error in judgment. This was a calculated attempt to avoid responsibility by filing a false police report. The silence in the courtroom is absolute. Sophia sits frozen, her political smile finally, completely gone. Judge Caprio continues, his voice measured but carrying undeniable authority. Miss Chen, when officers informed you that traffic cameras had captured you driving, and that Mr. Reeves had identified you as the driver, you became verbally abusive and refused to comply with their lawful orders. Can you explain this behavior? Sophia's hands gripped the edge of the table, her knuckles whitening. Those officers were incredibly disrespectful, Your Honor. They came to my father's home at 1 a.m. like I was some kind of dangerous criminal. They treated me like I was nobody. Do you have any idea what it's like to be handcuffed in front of your parents' neighbors? To have police cars with flashing lights in your driveway for everyone to see? Judge Caprio leans forward slightly. I imagine it's similar to what Mr. Reeves experienced while waiting for an ambulance because you fled the scene. Sophia opens her mouth to respond but nothing comes out. Judge Caprio nods to the bailiff. Let's listen to the body camera footage from the arresting officers. The courtroom fills with the sound of the recording. An officer's voice, professional and calm, comes through clearly. Miss Chen, we need you to step outside and submit to a breathalyzer test. Sophia's voice on the recording is sharp, entitled, completely different from the controlled tone she's been using in court. Do you know who my father is? The officer responds patiently. Ma'am, that's not relevant to this investigation. Not relevant. Sophia's recorded voice rises. My father is your boss. He's the mayor of this city. This entire police department answers to him. You both answer to him. Miss Chen, please step outside. We need to conduct a sobriety test. I'm calling my father right now. You're both going to regret this. I'll make sure you're directing traffic in the worst neighborhoods by next week. The courtroom is absolutely silent. Several people in the gallery look shocked. Sophia sits with her head down, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Another voice comes through the recording, older, weary. Sophia, please cooperate with the officers. It's her father, Mayor Chen. Dad, they're treating me like a criminal. Tell them who I am. Sophia, just do what they ask. Please. The recording continues with sounds of resistance, Sophia's voice becoming more desperate and angry. Fine. But this is harassment. Pure harassment. My father's attorney will be filing complaints against both of you by morning. Ma'am, please blow into the breathalyzer. This is ridiculous. I wasn't even drunk. I had 2 glasses of wine hours ago. There's a beep, then the officer's voice. .14. That's nearly twice the legal limit. That can't be right. Your machine is broken. These things are notoriously unreliable. Ma'am, turn around and place your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for driving under the influence and leaving the scene of an accident. You're arresting me. You can't arrest me. Do you have any idea what kind of connections my family has? My father plays golf with the police chief. He has dinner with the governor. I will end your careers. Both of you. You'll never work in this city again. I'll make sure of it. The audio ends. The courtroom remains in stunned silence. Judge Caprio speaks quietly. Miss Chen, you threatened two police officers who were doing their jobs. You invoked your father's position repeatedly to try to intimidate them. Sophia looks up, her eyes red. I was scared. I was upset. People say things they don't mean when they're emotional. Judge Caprio picks up another document. Miss Chen, the prosecution has submitted screenshots of social media posts you made in the days following your arrest. Would you like me to read them, or would you prefer to explain them yourself? Sophia goes pale. Those were private posts, Your Honor. They were public posts on your Instagram account which has nearly 15,000 followers. Let me read one. Judge Caprio adjusts his glasses. Can't believe the incompetence of Providence PD, literally trying to ruin my life over a fender bender. Dad's lawyers will handle it, but seriously, these people need to learn their place. The gallery erupts in gasps and angry whispers. Judge Caprio raises his hand for silence and continues. And another post, this one with a photo of you at a party. Living my best life while haters try to bring me down. Money and connections always win. Hashtag political witch hunt. Hashtag daddy's gonna fix it. Sophia's voice is barely a whisper. I was upset. I was venting. Everyone posts things they don't mean when they're going through something difficult. Judge Caprio sets down the papers. Miss Chen, you posted that photo 3 days after you sent a 67-year-old man to the hospital. While he was lying in a hospital bed with broken ribs, you were partying and bragging about how your connections would save you. Before Sophia can respond, Judge Caprio continues. Mr. Marcus Reeves is present in the courtroom today. Sir, would you like to address the court? An elderly black man rises slowly from the second row. He's wearing a simple suit, his left arm in a cast, moving carefully as if every motion causes pain. He approaches the front of the courtroom with dignity despite his obvious discomfort. Your Honor, thank you for allowing me to speak. Marcus Reeves has a gentle voice, the voice of someone who spent decades teaching, but there's steel beneath it now. I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here to pile on to whatever punishment you decide is appropriate. But I need Miss Chen to understand what that night cost me. He turns slightly to face Sophia, who can't meet his eyes. I'm 78 years old. I taught English at Hope High School for 38 years. Thousands of students passed through my classroom. I dedicated my life to education, to helping young people learn to think critically and empathize with others. That night, I was coming home from Rhode Island Hospital where my wife Patricia is being treated for stage 4 cancer. She has maybe 3 months left to live. Maybe less. Marcus Reeves's voice thickens with emotion but doesn't break. Every night for the past 2 years, I've driven to that hospital to sit with my wife. To hold her hand. To read to her from the books we've loved together for 52 years of marriage. That's all I have left now, Your Honor. Time. Precious, irreplaceable time with the woman I love before she's gone. He pauses, gathering himself, and the courtroom is so quiet you could hear a pin drop. That night, because of Miss Chen's choice to drink and drive, because of her choice to run that red light, because of her choice to flee instead of staying to help, I couldn't hold my wife's hand for 3 weeks. My ribs were too broken. My wrist was fractured. I couldn't embrace her. I couldn't comfort her during her treatments. 3 weeks, Your Honor. Patricia has maybe 12 weeks left, and Miss Chen took 3 of them from us. From me. Tears streamed down his weathered face. I'm 78 years old. I don't have time to waste healing from injuries that never should have happened. Every day matters now. Every moment with my wife is precious beyond measure. And when I see social media posts calling this a fender bender, calling it a minor incident, suggesting that I'm somehow trying to take advantage of her family, my wife cried, Your Honor. She actually cried because she couldn't understand how someone could hurt another human being and just not care. Marcus turns more fully towards Sophia now, his voice gentle despite his pain. I taught thousands of young people over my career, Miss Chen. Rich kids, poor kids, kids from every background you can imagine. Most of them learned that actions have consequences. Most of them learned empathy and responsibility. I'm standing here today hoping you still can. I'm hoping there's still time for you to become someone who understands that other people's lives matter as much as your political ambitions. He returns to his seat slowly, each step clearly painful, and the courtroom remains absolutely silent. Sophia's face is streaked with tears, her carefully maintained composure shattered completely. Several people in the gallery are wiping their eyes. Even the bailiff looks moved. Judge Caprio allows the silence to stretch for a long moment before speaking. Miss Chen, Mr. Reeves has shown remarkable grace in addressing you today. Before I impose sentence, is there anything you'd like to say? Sophia stands shakily, her voice breaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Reeves. I didn't know about your wife. I didn't know how badly I hurt you. I was scared and I made terrible choices and her voice fails completely. Suddenly, the courtroom door opens and Mayor David Chen enters. He's distinguished, impeccably dressed, but his face shows the strain of a father watching his child face consequences he can't fix. Your Honor, may I approach? Judge Caprio's expression doesn't change. Mayor Chen, this is an active proceeding. I understand, Your Honor, but as Sophia's father, I feel I need to address the court. You're welcome to observe, Mayor, but I won't discuss the case outside the record. The mayor nods, accepting this. Your Honor, my daughter made terrible choices. Inexcusable choices. I'm not here to make excuses for her. But I am here to tell you that I've instructed everyone in my administration, from the city attorney to the police chief, that no one is to interfere with this case in any way. My daughter broke the law. She needs to face the consequences. Judge Caprio studies the mayor carefully. That's admirable, Mayor Chen. But your daughter threatened police officers with political retaliation. She invoked your name and your position repeatedly to avoid accountability. She posted on social media that money and connections always win. She believes your position exempts her from the rules everyone else follows. Mayor Chen's face shows deep disappointment as he looks at his daughter. I saw those posts, Your Honor. I was horrified. That's not how I raised her. That's not what public service means. Your Honor, do what you need to do. Impose whatever sentence you believe is just. I'll support it completely. My daughter needs to learn that nobody is above the law. Not even the mayor's daughter. Especially not the mayor's daughter. Sophia is crying openly now. Dad, please. The mayor's voice is firm but gentle. No, Sophia. You need to hear this. Your Honor, my position makes this situation more complicated, I know. But it shouldn't. Justice should be blind to political considerations. I trust you to do what's right. He takes a seat in the back row, and Judge Caprio nods with evident respect. Mayor Chen, your integrity in this moment speaks well of your character. I wish your daughter had learned more from your example. Now, Miss Chen, your father just demonstrated more honor in 2 minutes than you've shown through this entire process. He's willing to let justice proceed even though it might hurt his political career. That's what public service actually means. Judge Caprio picks up his pen, and everyone in the courtroom leans forward slightly. Miss Chen, based on the evidence presented, traffic camera footage showing you running a red light at excessive speed, breathalyzer results showing a blood alcohol content of 0.14, body camera footage of your threats against police officers, your false police report, and your own social media posts mocking this incident, I find you guilty on all charges. For driving under the influence with a BAC nearly twice the legal limit, I'm imposing a fine of $3,000. For leaving the scene of an accident causing bodily injury, an additional $5,000. For providing false information and filing a false report, $2,500. For resisting arrest and threatening police officers, $4,000. Sophia nods, accepting these penalties with resignation, clearly believing the worst is over. But Judge Caprio isn't finished, and his next words make the entire courtroom hold its breath. However, Miss Chen, these fines mean nothing to you. They're pocket change for someone with your resources. So I'm imposing conditions that will actually matter. Judge Caprio's voice fills every corner of the courtroom. Your driver's license is suspended for 18 months, effective immediately. Furthermore, you are prohibited from having anyone drive you anywhere except for court-mandated activities and genuine medical emergencies. No hired drivers, no car services, no friends playing chauffeur. If you need to go somewhere, you'll use public transportation like thousands of Providence residents do every day. Sophia's eyes widen. How am I supposed to get to school? To work? The same way Mr. Reeves will get to the hospital to see his dying wife now that he's afraid to drive after your actions traumatized him. You'll figure it out like everyone else does. But Judge Caprio isn't finished, and his next words drain all remaining color from Sophia's face. Miss Chen, you're sentenced to 500 hours of community service, to be completed at Rhode Island Hospital, specifically in the oncology ward where Mr. Reeves's wife is receiving treatment. Sophia gasps audibly. 500 hours. Your Honor, I don't have any medical training. I don't know how to work in a hospital. You don't need medical training to show compassion, Miss Chen. You don't need a degree to hold someone's hand, to bring them water, to listen to their stories, to help transport patients, to deliver meals, to clean rooms, to be present for people who are facing real problems. Not manufactured political drama, but actual life and death situations that can't be fixed with connections or money. Sophia's voice trembles. Your Honor, please. I can do community service anywhere. A food bank, a homeless shelter, anything. Just not where I have to. Not where you have to face what your privilege has protected you from your entire life. Judge Caprio's voice is gentle but unyielding. Not where you have to witness suffering you can't escape by writing a check. That's exactly why you're going there, Miss Chen. You need to learn what really matters before you waste your entire life believing your last name makes you special. Additionally, you will write a public apology, not drafted by attorneys or public relations consultants, but in your own words, to Mr. Reeves, to the police officers you threatened, and to the people of Providence. This will be published in the Providence Journal and posted on all your social media accounts where you mocked this situation. The media attention, Sophia starts, but Judge Caprio cuts her off. Will be significant, just like the media attention you sought when you posted about money and connections always winning. The difference is this time you'll be held accountable for your words instead of celebrating your ability to avoid consequences. Judge Caprio continues laying out the terms of her sentence. You'll attend a 16-week program on substance abuse and victim awareness. Every Saturday for 4 months, you'll sit with other DUI offenders and hear from families who've lost loved ones to drunk driving. You'll learn what your choices could have cost if Mr. Reeves had died that night, if his wife had lost her husband in his final months because you couldn't be bothered to call a cab. And here's the condition that matters most. Every week for the next 18 months, you will write a journal entry about your experiences at the hospital, about the patients you meet, about what you're learning. These won't be published. They're not for show. They're for this court, and they'll be reviewed monthly. If I determine at any point that you're going through the motions, that you're performing rather than transforming, your community service hours will double and you'll serve 90 days in the adult correctional facility. Do you understand? Sophia's voice is barely audible. Yes, Your Honor. Judge Caprio isn't quite done. Furthermore, you are prohibited from participating in any political campaigns, including your father's re-election campaign, until your community service is complete and you've demonstrated genuine rehabilitation. But the election is in 6 months, Sophia protests weakly. My dad needs me to, your father will campaign without you, Miss Chen. Perhaps that's appropriate given that your behavior has become a political liability he doesn't deserve. In the back row, Mayor Chen nods slowly, accepting this consequence with visible pain but also understanding. Judge Caprio leans forward, his voice taking on a different quality, almost fatherly. Miss Chen, your father has spent his career in public service. He's dedicated his life to making Providence better for everyone, not just people with connections and money. You've spent 19 years enjoying the benefits of that service without understanding its purpose. Public service isn't about power. It's about responsibility. It's about using whatever privilege you have to help people with less. Your father understands this. It's time you learned it too. Sophia is sobbing now, all pretense stripped away, just a 19-year-old girl finally confronting the reality of her actions. You came here expecting your last name to save you, expecting phone calls and connections to make this disappear like everything else in your life. You're leaving with something your father's position can't buy, the chance to become someone actually worth that name. If you complete all requirements with documented evidence of genuine effort and transformation, I'll reduce your fines by half. Miss even one requirement, show up but don't engage, treat this as performance rather than growth, and you'll learn what consequences really look like. Judge Caprio signs the sentencing documents with deliberate care. You'll report to Rhode Island Hospital's volunteer coordinator this Saturday at 8 a.m. Your public apology will be submitted to the Providence Journal within 1 week. Your DUI classes begin in 2 weeks. Failure to comply with any aspect of this sentence will result in immediate arrest. Court is adjourned. The gavel falls with a sharp crack that seems to echo endlessly. Sophia remains seated, trembling, as the courtroom slowly empties. Mayor Chen approaches his daughter and embraces her tightly. I'm proud of you for accepting this, he whispers. Sophia sobs into her father's shoulder. I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm sorry for everything. For embarrassing you, for using your name, for all of it. As they move toward the exit, Sophia stops near where Marcus Reeves is slowly standing. Mr. Reeves, she begins, but he holds up his hand gently. Not now, Miss Chen. Not yet. When you're ready to mean it, truly mean it, then we'll talk. Sophia nods, understanding, and continues out with her father. The story of Sophia Chen's sentencing spreads through Providence within hours, dominating local news by evening and reaching national outlets by the next morning. But the real story, the one that matters, is just beginning. It's the story of whether someone raised in privilege, insulated by power, protected by connections, can learn what it means to be human. Whether 500 hours surrounded by dying patients and grieving families can crack open a heart that wealth and politics have kept carefully sealed. Only time will tell if Judge Caprio's faith in transformation was justified, or if Sophia Chen will simply count down the days until she can return to her insulated life. But for now, justice has been served, not with connections or negotiations, but with accountability, with consequences that money cannot erase, with the uncomfortable truth that being the mayor's daughter means nothing when you've forgotten how to be a decent human being. And in Judge Caprio's courtroom, that's the only currency that has ever mattered.